Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jesse from Unheard Musicians, and as many of you know, I run this Instagram page over here where I promote musicians for free and give them a chance for free promotion. And I built a website, and now I'm writing a bunch of blogs, and I'm creating more content, the original content for myself to help you guys promote your music. And one of the ways that I'm doing this is creating blogs that show you how to get onto platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and all those types of services. Also iTunes as well, and I'm going to get into that in a second. So as you can see here, this is on the computer, so it's going to look a little different than it would look on your mobile device. And I'm just going to jump over to the Unheard Musicians website really quick just to show you guys what's going on, what I'm working on to help you guys promote your music, and why this is actually being recorded on YouTube. This is going to be a live video on Instagram, but it's going to be recorded on YouTube, and I'll explain that in a little bit and why I'm doing that. So to get right into it, when you go onto this site right away, I try to give you guys some valuable tips on how you're going to get my attention. And my friend of mine that was involved with this, he's more involved with the site more than anything. I do the social media part of Unheard Musicians, and I give tips of what's going to pop out to me. If you see here, it tells you a few things. It tells you the main thing that's on my bio, which is just use the hashtag, follow me, and now I have a few more things like on the site, like subscribing to our email list is one of the things that I go through that email list and I see the accounts that are on there, and I actually look through them. So if you subscribe to the email list, I'm going to probably end up looking at your profile, and then that's giving you more of a chance to be featured. And then there's more things on here like comments and stories, but that's not really where I want to focus on right now. What I want to focus on right now is the topic of the blogs that I'm writing for this site, and basically showing you guys what's going on here, because I'm sure nobody has any idea what I'm doing with this. So if you go over here on the left hand side right here, there's a menu bar showing everything. On mobile, it's just going to be a button that says menu, and then all this will pop up. So I wrote a few blogs. One of the blogs is called Streaming versus Downloading Music. And if you click on that right here, just give it a second to load. It's going to bring this page up where there's not a whole lot of like images or anything like that. This is like one of the very first few blogs that I started writing, but that I felt like is important. It's an important topic to discuss with people who are creating music and just not really promoting it really yet. And even if you are, this is still something to look into on my site, because well, I'll get into that in a sec. So here is an article about streaming versus downloading music, the effects it has on you as a consumer / musician. And I'm not really going to go into the whole thing about the blog. I want you guys just to come on here and read it, see what you think. And the reason why I'm doing this on YouTube right now as a video is to get you guys to comment and tell me what you think about this whole thing, because really why I'm doing this is these few articles, which is streaming versus downloading music, and then it's your music on iTunes. It's not just iTunes, it's Spotify, it's Apple Music, it's Tidal, it's more. And really the gist of these articles, I can like sum it up in like 3 seconds right now, is that streaming versus downloading music, it's going to have a lot of benefits. Streaming music is going to have a lot of benefits for the consumer, and downloading music is going to have a lot of benefits for the musician as far as compensation. And as a consumer, it's really easy to want to just go to a streaming service. And the whole gist of the article is basically talking about how that basically the value of music is so devalued, since the whole era of just basically pirating music and just taking music from the internet, and yeah, that whole situation. So what my whole agenda with this is to bring value back to music, especially for my followers. So what I want to do is I have these articles, and what they're leading you to do is your music on iTunes and Spotify and Apple Music is an article about actually putting your music on there and how to do it, and the different distributors, digital distributors that you can use. There's a couple different ones. There's DistroKid, there's TuneCore, there's CD Baby, and the pros and cons between those digital distributors, and how to just get yourself like on the path of actually putting your music out there and making it happen. It's not as hard as you might think. It's really simple. It's pretty cheap too, and one of the companies that I signed up for is DistroKid, and there's a referral program. And if you signed up through me, you get like a 7% discount, and I would make a few bucks off of it too. So that's like a perk. But there's pros and cons to all these companies, so you got to read the article and see what's right for you. And at the end of all this, there's a page called the Unheard Musicians albums, and that's where I'm basically leading up to with all this. The Unheard Musicians albums, which I just clicked on, just give it a second to load, is right now it's just a page that's in works. It's very similar to the iTunes album page. I don't know what just happened here. No, I just reloaded. Okay. And what it is that I can read it to you really quick, but it's just me representing you guys, your albums, and for purchase or for streaming on Apple Music. Like specifically right now, I am an affiliate for Apple Music and iTunes, so these are the two companies that I'll tend to talk about a little bit more. But if you can find these artists on Spotify or Tidal, it's still supporting these artists. It's just compared to downloading on a service like iTunes or Google Play, or Google, I think it's Google Play. Those services are going to compensate the artist way more. So here I have a little article. It says, a little paragraph or so. It says, use the preview player to see if you're interested in downloading or streaming any of these Unheard Musician albums. We hope we can bring value back to music. Even purchasing one single can make a big difference for these upcoming musicians and artists. And it's true. Downloading these songs, it's like artists will get like 70% of whatever you pay on downloads, and on streaming you'll make like not even pennies on the dollar. It's like 0.00007 cents on streams. So that's the difference in how it affects musicians. So here there's this guy Tony Haven right here. He's the first guy that I contacted about doing this. He's one of my followers, and he's somebody that I've featured on my page before. And what I plan to do with this is, see, he's on the top right here, and there's a couple other artists here. We have John Mayer here, so he's not an unheard musician. Sorry, I just got a message on my phone. He's not a unheard artist or anything like that. So a lot of these guys are going to be taken away and replaced with your albums, your music. So if you have like an album in the works, but you haven't put it out there yet, and you're just working on material, and this is something that might interest you, this is definitely something to look into. I think this is something that can take off eventually and be a really cool thing for all of you guys in the community, especially if you guys all support each other. And like, I'm not telling you guys, hey, like, buy this person's album because you need to support him. What I want you to do is go to this preview player that I have set up with iTunes and actually check it out. You can like hit the play button. And you can go to the next song. And these are all just examples. These are examples of how you can use the preview players. Check out these albums from these unheard musicians and decide if, like, hey, maybe this is something I want to listen to. If you have Apple Music or Spotify, you can click on Apple Music right here, right away, start listening to them right away, and that's already supporting them. And if you don't use any of these streaming services and you still download or music, or you just want to actually support them in a much bigger way, you click on Get It on iTunes, and it'll bring you to iTunes either on your phone. It'll bring up the app, or if you're on the website, it'll pop up with the iTunes player, and you can support these musicians by purchasing like a song or an album, and it'll extremely, benefit the musician, and it'll benefit me too, by a small amount. Like I said, I'm an affiliate for iTunes and for Apple Music. I make a lot more on Apple Music, but that's not my agenda. I want the musician to benefit from being on my website. So he's the top featured person right now, and I'm gonna feature him on Instagram. And you guys need to get over onto YouTube, honestly, because YouTube is a great platform for getting your music out there. It is hard to grow on YouTube, but you can put links and things like your albums underneath every description in every video. So I really suggest getting onto YouTube. Also, anytime you see this image right here, click on it. You get back to the home page on Unheard Musicians, and which is the feature tips page, and you can click on this YouTube icon right here. It'll bring you to my YouTube page, probably on mobile. It's going to bring you on a mobile browser, like Safari or whatever browser you're using. And it's going to probably prompt you to sign in before you subscribing. Just sign in, subscribe to this page. The reason why I want all of you guys on YouTube is I want to create a giant community on YouTube that supports each other. And with a bunch of people watching each other's videos, it can not only support each other through AdSense, but you can represent your albums in every description of every video that you make. So I suggest going over to YouTube, subscribing to my channel on here. You can see there's some playlists here, and I'll get more involved with this and just create something big that can help musicians out again. And I don't know again, but just help them out now and more than ever, and just create like this movement if I can. This is something that I just did on a whim, and I'm having fun with it, but I'm having less and less time to really work on all this stuff. And because of that, I created a Patreon. If I can find it on here, because I'm not used to being on here. I'm always on the mobile. It's right here. It's guaranteed story features are available to our patrons. And if you don't know what Patreon is, it's like a monthly subscription helping creators who make content. Like it could be musicians themselves who have Patreons, and I'm just a campaign runner for musicians, and I'm doing everything for free right now. And there are like little things that can make me money, but it's so little money right now, to be honest. And if you click over to the Patreon, it can really help me out. I'm not asking for your support. You don't have to do this. This is something if you want to do this willingly, but there are some incentives on Patreon. There are bonuses for monthly subscriptions, and it's taking forever to load. I don't know why, but there's a couple tiers. I just started this. I just literally made this like yesterday, and there's like this whole description of how you could support me, or like why I'm doing this, and there's like a couple different tiers, like a bronze tier where I'm gonna have patron only polls, interact with us, anything you want to ask me, and my patrons are very important to me. And there's some decisions I want to ask you guys, like what logo looks great to you guys, like the one that I'm currently using, or add a couple different logos that I was trying to decide on. So that's something like that I would want to ask, or what do you think I should do next to help support you guys? And that's just something as $1 a month would get you involved with. Like some of these things, like people don't even offer anything. And then for $3 a month, I'm offering guaranteed story features on Instagram. And whether you're a musician or not, I'll shout you out if you have a normal page, and like thank you for your support, because that would be tremendous for me if I get enough people to do this. And in the beginning, I'm going to do these story features like up to the amount of people who are my patrons. So That means if there's like a very limited amount, like if there's like 5 patrons that are supporting me with this $3 thing a month, like they're gonna get on the stories like multiple times a month, like multiple times a month, because I'm only going to be doing story features for my patrons at some point, and I'm not doing normal post features because I want to keep that unsaturated and still free for everybody, and that's like the whole premise of my Instagram. So I don't want to deviate from that. So that's pretty much it for this video. Check out the blogs, see what you think about them. Comment in the YouTube video what you think about this whole thing, what I'm doing for musicians. I've been a little slow with growing my following at the moment because I've been working on this site, and real life is getting in the way. I just moved into this apartment not too long ago, and that was a little hectic. And yeah, so just let me know what you guys think in the YouTube video. Definitely click on this icon over here if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and comment on that video. I couldn't make a video like this obviously on Instagram itself, so I'm going to live stream it on Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, I'm sure most pages don't show who's behind the face of these feature pages, but I figured why not. I'm just like one of you guys, just trying to play some music and just start getting it out there, and this is just something that I was interested in, so I figured why not help everybody else out at the same time. So let me know what you guys think again, and thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry, having a little technical difficulty. Don't know why it's not. I might have to edit that part, but